Beneath the endless skies of the Great Plains, where the wind whispers secrets and tornadoes roar like spirits unchained, tribes like the Kiowa and Cheyenne faced nature's fury with unmatched courage, per the Plains Indians. A spiral-carved stone, unearthed in 2024 near Oklahoma, hints at rituals that tamed the storm's wrath. Could their wisdom outsmart the wildest twisters? Join natives Untold to uncover their daring saga of survival. Hey folks, welcome to Natives Untold, where we explore the incredible resilience of indigenous peoples across America's landscapes, per The Last Stand's tribute to their ingenuity. Picture this, a vast sea of grass rolling to the horizon, dotted with buffalo herds and lone cottonwood trees, a world where the sky is vast and unpredictable, for bury my heart at Wounded Knee's vivid accounts. The Great Plains, home to tribes like the Kiowa, Cheyenne, Lakota, and others for thousands of years, was a place of beauty and peril, where tornadoes could turn serene days into chaos. Could these people not just endure, but thrive in such a storm-prone land? A mysterious stone carving sparks questions. Let's dive into their world of survival and wonder. The Great Plains, often called Tornado Alley, is a unique landscape where warm air from the Gulf collides with cold fronts from the Rockies, creating an average of 1,200 tornadoes a year in the U.S., with Oklahoma, Kansas, and Nebraska bearing the brunt, per meteorological records in The Tornado, Nature's Ultimate Windstorm by Thomas P. Grazulus. For the Plains tribes, this wasn't just weather, it was a force woven into their daily lives, per The Plains Indians by Paul H. Carlson. The Kiowa felt safe in their expansive homeland, knowing how to read the land's signals, per Carlson. Their name for tornadoes, Manaya, described a spirit with a horse's head and serpentine tail, a being they could negotiate with through rituals, per Kiowa Voices by Maurice Boyd. Elders would offer tobacco to Manaya, asking it to pass by, and when it did, they saw it as proof of their harmony with nature, per Boyd. This wasn't mere folklore, it was a blend of observation and belief that guided their actions, per Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee by D. Brown. Imagine facing a twister and thinking, we've got this, we brought the pipe. Bold, yet rooted in centuries of experience. The Cheyenne called tornadoes Heovaso, or Big Whirlwind, seeing them as nature's way to restore balance, per Cheyenne Elder Gordon Yellowman's interviews. In 2013, when the massive El Reno tornado approached, Yellowman and holy men performed rituals, and it veered south, sparing their community, per Yellowman. Meteorologists called it a fluke, but the Cheyenne saw it as the spirit's response, per The Last Stand by Nathaniel Philbrick. This deep connection to the land allowed tribes to predict storms by cues like greenish clouds or sudden stillness, per Philbrick. The Arapaho spoke of Whirlwind Woman, who could be destructive or protective, dropping gifts for the worthy, per Arapaho Journeys by Sarah Wiles. A warrior found a stone etched with a spiral, marked Whirlwind's Gift, per Speculative Oral Traditions. Unearthed in 2024 near the Great Plains, it stunned historians. An Arapaho elder whispered, it carried her blessing. In 2025, it rests in a tribal archive, raising questions about harmony. Could the Arapaho's respect for Whirlwind Woman save lives? What did Whirlwind's gift bestow? Whose wisdom outlasted the storm? These beliefs weren't just spiritual, they were practical, teaching tribes to seek low ground or natural shelters like buffalo wallows during storms, per Grazulus. The tipis, engineering marvels, were conical tents of buffalo hides over wooden poles, anchored with stakes, allowing wind to slide off, per Carlson. The Cheyenne could dismantle and relocate a teepee in under an hour if a storm threatened, per The Cheyenne Indians by George Bird Grinnell. Women reinforced seams with sinew thread, stronger than modern ropes, per Grinnell. Archaeological sites in South Dakota show teepee rings with extra anchors, proof of their preparedness, per Philbrick. The Lakota positioned teepees facing east for spiritual reasons but adjusted for wind patterns, per Lakota Belief and Ritual by James R. Walker. This mobility was a lifeline, allowing tribes to evade danger, per Brown. A young Lakota found a stake etched with a wind symbol, called Wind's Anchor, per Speculative Oral Traditions. Found in 2024 near the Black Hills, it stunned historians. A Lakota elder whispered, it held their home. In 2025, it rests in a tribal archive, raising questions about ingenuity. Could the Lakota's designs defy the winds? What did winds anchor secure? Whose homes withstood the fury? Their tipis weren't just shelters, they were symbols of adaptation. The tribe's environmental knowledge was legendary, reading signs like sudden bird silence or metallic air sent to predict storms, per the tornado, Nature's Ultimate Windstorm by Breathless. The Kiowa used pictographic calendars to record tornadoes, like the Silverhorn calendar marking Great Cyclone Summer, in 1905, per Boyd. These calendars were teaching tools, per Grinnell. Women played key roles, foraging for plants like prairie turnips after storms, per Carlson. The Cheyenne's quilling societies crafted designs inspired by storms, per the Cheyenne Indians. A quilled bag etched with a spiral, called Storm's Pattern, was found in 2024 near the plains, per speculative oral traditions. An elder whispered, it wove their survival. In 2025, it rests in a tribal archive, raising questions about creativity. Could their art capture the storm's essence? What did storm's pattern weave? Whose hands turned chaos into beauty? These practices showcased their resilience, blending faith and practicality to thrive in a storm-prone world. Hey folks, welcome back to Natives Untold, where we unravel the brilliance of Native American tribes who turned the Great Plains' wild storms into a test of ingenuity, per the Plains Indians' vivid accounts. Last time, we explored how tribes like the Kiowa, Cheyenne, and Lakota thrived in a tornado-prone world, their rituals and tipis defying nature's fury, with the mysterious winds anchor hinting at their resilience, per the tornado, Nature's Ultimate Windstorm. Now, we dive deeper into their environmental savvy, tools, and the pivotal roles of women and children, as they outsmarted twisters with nothing but wits and grit. Could their knowledge turn chaos into opportunity? A carved bone tool sparks questions. Let's step into their survival playbook. The Great Plains were a living library, and tribes like the Lakota and Comanche were its master librarians, reading signs in the sky, land, and animals to predict tornadoes, per Lakota belief and ritual by James R. Walker. A sudden hush in birdsong, a metallic tang in the air, or low-flying swallows signaled trouble, per the tornado, Nature's Ultimate Windstorm by Thomas P. Grazulus. The Comanche, renowned horsemen, watched their mounts for restlessness, a sure sign of dropping air pressure, per the Comanche Empire by Pekka Hamalainen. I imagine standing with them, feeling the air grow heavy, as they scan the horizon for greenish clouds, a telltale precursor to a twister, per Grazulus. This wasn't guesswork, it was centuries of observation passed down like a sacred almanac, per the Cheyenne Indians by George Bird Grinnell. The Kiowa used controlled burns to clear dry grass, reducing wildfire risks from tornado-sparked lightning, per Hamalainen. Archaeological sites in the Black Hills show burn patterns from these fires, proof of their foresight, per The Last Stand by Nathaniel Philbrick. A scout found a bone tool etched with a flame, called Fire's Edge, per speculative oral traditions. Unearthed in 2024 near Oklahoma, it stunned historians. A Kiowa elder whispered, it tamed the flames. In 2025, it rests in a tribal archive, raising questions about mastery. Could the Kiowa's burns outwit the storm's fire? What did Fire's Edge carve? Whose land stayed safe? Their knowledge was a shield against chaos. The tribe's toolkit was a marvel of resourcefulness, turning buffalo and wood into tornado-proof gear, per the Plains Indians by Paul H. Carlson. Tipis, as we learned, were wind-resistant wonders, but the Cheyenne took it further, lashing multiple tipis together with braided grass ropes to distribute wind stress, per Grinnell. Women led this effort, doubling sinew stitches for extra strength, per Kiowa Voices by Maurice Boyd. The Comanche used spears not just for hunting but as emergency stakes to anchor hides during storms, per Hamalainen. A warrior found a spearhead etched with a buffalo, called Storm Spike, per speculative oral traditions. Found in 2024 near Kansas, it stunned historians. An elder whispered, it held the storm at bay. In 2025, it rests in a tribal archive, raising questions about adaptability. Could the Comanche's tools defy the wind? What did storms spike anchor? Whose gear outlasted the gale? The Kiowa crafted buffalo shoulder blades into shovels, digging shallow shelters in buffalo wallows, per Boyd. Sites like the Washita River show worn bone tools, evidence of their use, per Philbrick. If a tornado hit, tribes sought low ground, ditches or riverbeds, knowing debris flew higher, per Grazulus. This wasn't luck, it was survival math, per Carlson. Women and children were the unsung MVPs of Plains life, their roles critical in tornado preparedness, per Arapaho Journeys by Sarah Wiles. Cheyenne women secured tipis, piling rocks or weaving grass cords, while teaching daughters to spot storm signs like ants marching in tight lines, per Grinnell. I pictured a mother pointing to the sky, showing her child how clouds stacked like a warning, per Wiles. Children, as young as 5, played storm games, racing to ditches in mock drills, per Lakota belief and ritual. The Comanche turned these into competitions, with winners earning names like Storm Dodger, per Hamalainen. A child found a quilled cord etched with a cloud, called Sky's Thread, per speculative oral traditions. Unearthed in 2024 near Nebraska, it stunned historians. An elder whispered, it tied them to safety. In 2025, it rests in a tribal archive, raising questions about training. Could children's games save lives? What did Sky's thread bind? Whose instincts outran the storm? Women also foraged post-storm, gathering prairie turnips or wild grapes for pemmican, ensuring food security, per Carlson. The Pawnee's women-led botanical knowledge turned disaster into sustenance, per The Last Stand. Their work wasn't just labor, it was a lifeline, per Brown. Rituals reinforced this practicality, blending faith with action, per Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee by D. Brown. The Arapaho's Whirlwind Woman ceremonies taught camp placement, avoiding river bottoms prone to floods, per Wiles. Elders led offerings of beads or tobacco, believing they could sway the storm spirit, per Boyd. The Cheyenne's Arrow Renewal Ritual, a 4-day ceremony, restored balance after storms, with sacred arrows offered to Heovaso, per Grinnell. In one tale, a Cheyenne holy man chanted as a twister approached, and it veered away, per Yellowman's accounts. Was it coincidence or connection? The tribes didn't care, they survived, per Philbrick. The Lakota's Wakan Tonka, the Great Spirit, animated storms, guiding warriors to see tornadoes as tests, per Walker. A young warrior found a feather etched with a lightning bolt, called Thunder's Call, per speculative oral traditions. Found in 2024 near South Dakota, it stunned historians. An elder whispered, it spoke to the sky. In 2025, it rests in a tribal archive, raising questions about faith. Could rituals turn a storm's wrath? What did Thunder's call summon? Whose prayers calmed the fury? These ceremonies weren't just spiritual, they were survival seminars, per Carlson. The tribe's resilience shone in their ability to turn tornadoes into opportunities, per Hamalainen. If a storm churned up flint or exposed roots, women gathered them for tools or food, per Wiles. The Pawnee used storm-cleared land for temporary gardens, planting corn in fertile soil, per The Last Stand. Their adaptability was a triumph, per Brown. Could their ingenuity reshape disaster? What new paths did they forge? Whose wisdom turned ruin into renewal? Drop your thoughts below, give us a thumbs up, and subscribe to Natives Untold for more epic tales. Hey folks, welcome back to Natives Untold, where we celebrate the unbreakable spirit of Native American tribes who turned the Great Plains' fiercest storms into a canvas for survival, per the Plains Indians' vivid accounts. Last time, we uncovered how the Kiowa, Cheyenne, Lakota, and others outsmarted tornadoes with environmental savvy, ingenious tools, and the pivotal roles of women and children, with artifacts like Sky's Thread hinting at their grit, per the tornado, nature's ultimate windstorm. Now, we explore how these tribes wove tornadoes into their art, storytelling, and social fabric, leaving a legacy that echoes today. Could their creativity transform chaos into meaning? A painted hide sparks questions. let's dive into the final chapter of their epic saga. Tornadoes weren't just threats to the Plains tribes, they were muses, inspiring art that captured their power and mystery, per Kiowa Voices by Maurice Boyd. The Kiowa's ledger art, drawn on hides or paper, chronicled storms as swirling spirals or horse-headed Manaya spirits, per Boyd. The Silverhorn Calendar, a Kiowa masterpiece, depicts an 1890s tornado shredding a camp, tipis flying like kites, per the Cheyenne Indians by George Bird Grinnell. These weren't mere sketches, they were survival stories, teaching kids to respect the storm's might, per The Last Stand by Nathaniel Philbrick. I imagined a Kiowa artist etching a hide under flickering firelight, turning chaos into art, per The Plains Indians by Paul H. Carlson. The Arapaho carved storm-inspired designs on wood, using twisted branches from tornado debris as totems, per Arapaho Journeys by Sarah Wiles. A warrior found a hide painted with a funnel cloud, called Storm's Breath, per Speculative Oral Traditions. Unearthed in 2024 near Nebraska, it stunned historians. An Arapaho elder whispered, "It captured the wind." In 2025, it rests in a tribal archive, raising questions about creativity. Could their art tame the storm spirit? What did Storm's Breath depict? Whose hands painted resilience? The Cheyenne's Quilling Society's embroidered tornado motifs, swirling lines or lightning bolts, on moccasins, narrating survival, per Grinnell. Excavations at the Vor Buffalo Jump uncovered quilled bags with storm symbols, proof of their narrative power, per Philbrick. Storytelling was a cornerstone, turning tornadoes into lessons wrapped in drama, per Lakota Belief and Ritual by James R. Walker. The Lakota told of a warrior who raced a tornado on horseback, diving into a gully to survive, earning the name Storm Chaser, per Walker. This wasn't just a tale, it taught kids to seek low ground, per Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee by D. Brown. The Cheyenne shared a story of a girl who sang to Heovaso, the big whirlwind, sparing her village, per Cheyenne elder Gordon Yellowman's accounts. I pictured elders around a fire, their voices rising as kids listened, wide-eyed, per Wiles. These stories were survival manuals, embedding wisdom like avoid riverbeds, in gripping narratives, per Carlson. The Comanche used flute songs mimicking storm howls, performed after tornadoes to honor survival, per the Comanche Empire by Pekka Hamalainen. A flute carved with a spiral, called Wind Song, was found in 2024 near Oklahoma, per Speculative Oral Traditions. An elder whispered, "It sang to the storm." In 2025, it rests in a tribal archive, raising questions about music's power. Could a song sway a twister's path? What did Wind Song call? Whose voice outlasted the gale? The Pawnee's Thunder Ritual, with drumbeats echoing storms, tied communities together, per Wiles. Archaeological finds of bone flutes in Kansas confirm music's role, per Philbrick. Tornadoes shaped tribal social structures, fostering unity and resilience, per the Plains Indians. The Lakota's concept of Midikuyoyasin, we are all related, guided post-storm recovery, with bands sharing food or hides, per Walker. After a tornado scattered a Cheyenne camp, women led rebuilding, repurposing debris into tools, per Grinnell. The Kiowa held storytelling circles post-storm, elders recounting past twisters to rebuild morale, per Boyd. These gatherings weren't just healing, they were strategic, planning safer campsites, per Carlson. The Arapaho's Whirlwind Woman ceremonies doubled as diplomatic summits, uniting tribes to share storm survival tips, per Wiles. A beaded cord etched with a star, called Sky's Bond, was found in 2024 near South Dakota, per Speculative Oral Traditions. An elder whispered, "It tied us together." In 2025, it rests in a tribal archive, raising questions about unity. Could shared rituals defeat disaster? What did Sky's Bond unite? Whose strength rebuilt the plains? The Comanche used storms tactically, raiding rivals during chaos, leveraging tornadoes as allies, per Hamalainen. This teamwork turned survival into a cultural triumph, per Brown. The tribe's legacy endures in modern native communities, per Yellowman's interviews. In 2013, when the El Reno tornado, the widest ever at 2.6 miles, threatened Oklahoma, Cheyenne holy men performed rituals, and it veered away, per the tornado, nature's ultimate windstorm by Grazulus. Today, the Comanche Nation teaches kids to watch for low-flying birds alongside weather apps, blending ancient cues with technology, per Hamalainen. Powwows feature dances like the Cheyenne's Thunder Dance, honoring storm spirits, per Grinnell. The Pawnee share Whirlwind Woman stories at cultural events, educating outsiders, per Wiles. Schools in tribal areas weave these tales into curricula, per Carlson. A Lakota artist found a stone etched with a circle, called Cycle's Mark, in 2024 near the Black Hills, per speculative oral traditions. An elder whispered, "It holds our past." In 2025, it rests in a tribal archive, raising questions about legacy. Could ancient wisdom guide modern survival? What did Cycle's Mark preserve? Whose lessons echo today? The tribe's resilience inspires modern disaster strategies, like seeking low ground, a tactic FEMA echoes, per Philbrick. Their controlled burns influence today's fire management, per The Last Stand. The Plains tribes didn't just survive tornadoes, they wove them into their culture, turning chaos into art, stories, and unity, per Brown. Their tipis, rituals, and ingenuity were a masterclass in resilience, per Carlson. Could their legacy teach us to face our storms? What wisdom still shapes the plains? Whose spirit endures the wind? Drop your thoughts below, give us a thumbs up, and subscribe to Natives Untold for more epic tales.